Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. In this episode, we are talking all about how to eat healthy on the go while traveling. The world, fortunately, hopefully, I know the Delta variant is causing complications and fear, but it does seem that the world is opening back up. You're traveling more, you're doing more things, and this is going to bring up a lot. You know, maybe you're working on improving your health and you want to be consistent and you don't want a trip to derail you. I believe that every day, whether you're traveling, whether it's a holiday, no matter what, we're always looking to find balance. We want to treat every single day pretty much the same, with maybe small variants, right? Like on your birthday, you're not going to be so disciplined and structured, right? But you're going to celebrate. But there's a difference between, you know, celebrating your birthday versus celebrating your birthday week or your birthday month, or then celebrating your birthday and then celebrating your sister's birthday and then your brother's birthday and then your mom's birthday and then your dad's birthday. And, you know, there's an opportunity for us to kind of find the imbalance in just about any opportunity. And travel tends to do that. And it's hard, right? Navigating healthy situations while you travel is difficult, which is why we tend to kind of just say, you know what, screw it. I'll start again when we get back. And I want to just remind you that that mindset will not serve you. It will not get you to where you want to go. We want to treat every single day as an opportunity to find balance, knowing that some days are going to be easier to do that than others. And when we travel, it is a little bit harder to do. So I just recently took a trip with my boyfriend. I got to meet a big part of his family. We went down to Virginia for a wedding. I live in New York. So one part of his family was it took us about 6.5 hours to get there with traffic. We thought it was going to be more of like a 5-hour drive. It took us about 6.5 hours. And then the next day we drove another 4 hours further down south. And all that to say, we spent a lot of time in the car. Just yesterday we got back and we drove, it was like 8 hours in the car. So it was a lot of time in the car. So I'm going to be talking about this in regards to traveling, maybe a road trip, or even we stayed in hotels most of the weekend. So things you can do to navigate the weekend stay in like a hotel or whatnot. But a lot of these tips can be used in like your everyday. Maybe you travel for business, or honestly, maybe you just travel maybe you're going back to the office, back into work. And so you're going to learn a lot of things that it really just comes down to intention setting, planning, preparing ahead, and lots of things there to kind of help with that. So with that said, the first thing that we did is we had a cooler. We packed the cooler and we got lots of ice, and we just put lots of water and seltzer water. I like seltzer water. We packed sandwiches. We packed fruit and vegetables. And you might be like, I'm going to go there and I can get stuff when I go there. But like I said, we thought that the trip was only going to be like a 4 to 5 hour drive. It ended up being 6.5 hours. And even the drive from one part of Virginia to the other, there was so much traffic. It was supposed to be without traffic 2.5 hours. It took us 4 hours. So all that to say, things always take more time than you think. And so it's okay to be over prepared, right? So yeah, we packed all this stuff. Did we eat it all there? No. Some stuff we got to bring back. But the point is that if you plan and prepare, then it's better to have something than to have nothing. Right? So making sure you are bringing things like water, food, snacks. So I brought lots of protein bars. My top favorite protein bars are, for especially during travel, I love Quest bars. They're okay flavor-wise and taste-wise, but the reason why I like them for travel purposes is because they're super high in fiber, and fiber helps with moving your bowels. And when you're sitting a lot, maybe you're not drinking as much water because of the stops, just traveling, especially if, I'm talking about a car trip, but if if you're doing any sort of flying, the altitude and things, like it definitely disrupts your bowel movements. And so making sure you're having nutrient-dense foods like fruits and veggies is definitely going to help with that fiber intake, but sometimes those are harder to find. So I recommend, having a Quest bar when traveling. It's a great source of protein and super high in fiber, and it can really help keep you regular while you're away. So all that to say, like, pack that stuff. You can never be over-prepared because then you could always bring it back. In addition to maybe getting a case of water or a case of seltzer, I brought that. You also want to bring a refillable water bottle or maybe you forgot to pack your a case of water or whatever it is. Just always find a water fountain somewhere and fill that up. And going back to hydration and like not wanting to stop to have to use the bathroom, like I understand you want to get there, but at the same time, use those stops as a way to also get up and move your body and walk around a little bit, do a little jumping jacks, just get your blood flowing because sitting so much does not feel so good. So that's super, super important. Now, the other thing you can do once you get to wherever you're going, if there is a hotel, if it's at a hotel or wherever you're staying, if you can ask for a refrigerator, if you can ask for a microwave helps with a lot of things. But make sure you just keep those things cold, especially right now. It's summer here. Things tend to, they can kind of go bad. So make sure that you're keeping things cold. The other thing I usually will bring with me is things that I know I like. So with that said, when you're traveling, you're probably going to eat out a lot, and you're probably going to go to places that you don't normally go to and have foods that you don't normally experience, or maybe the foods are just, we don't know what's technically in them, so it could seem like a healthier alternative, but we don't know how much salt or butter or oil went into that, even like a vegetable, which doesn't mean that we don't eat them. I'm not trying to like fear you out of not eating out, but the point is that the reality is that we don't always know. We're not as much in charge of our food choices when they're outside of our control at like a restaurant or whatnot. So with that said, I usually like to have, when I'm traveling, at least one meal or snack, something that I typically have at home that makes me feel good. So for example, we stayed at a lot of hotels, right? So the hotels, like they have like the, breakfast in the morning, and they often have like hot water and coffee, and then they might have like eggs and toast and bacon, all those things. What I often will do is I usually bring, whether if they have like plain oatmeal packets or I bring my own oatmeal. In this case, they had grits, so that was fun and different for me. So I was able to have something like grits. So I would put the plain grits or plain oats in the hot water, and I brought with me my protein powder. I like to do, if a lot of people ask me this question, what protein powder do you use? It's obviously individual to you. I do things like Vega Sport or Garden of Life, but I will take the protein powder, I'll take a scoop of that, put it in with my oatmeal or my grits or whatever it is, add the hot water, mix in, sometimes I'll bring like peanut butter packets, I'll put in a little bit of peanut butter, maybe they have peanut butter, maybe they have like nuts and raisins or something, or maybe they have a banana or some kind of fruit. This case, I brought blueberries with me, so I took the blueberries, put it in there, and mix it up, and that feels really good. You have your starch, which is the oats or the grits. You have your protein from the protein powder. Then you can add some healthy fats, whether it be from the nuts or a nut butter. And then your fruit, which is a carbohydrate, but it's a nutrient-dense, high fiber, high nutrient option. So it's just a really nice balanced meal. And so that's an example of something that I know I really like. That's like one of my staples that I have like regularly. And so I often will bring my protein powder. I'll bring my shaker bottle. I will, even maybe pick up, it depends where I'm going, but like I like almond milk, and that you can get the shelf stable almond milk. You have to refrigerate it once you open it, but stuff like that. So I can make myself either like those oats that I usually do, or even like shake it up and, get cold cereal like Cheerios. I'll take my almond milk, my protein powder, shake it up and put it in my Cheerios so that I have protein, carbs, and then I'll throw some fruit in there so it's nice and well balanced. And so those are things that I typically have at home. So I like to bring that with me because then at least there's one thing that I know that is well balanced that I like. And that way when I go out and I have things that I'm not 100% sure how they made it or how it's going to make me feel, it's a great balance for that. So that's why I really enjoy kind of bringing my staples with me, and just going from there, and making sure I'm getting in some nutrient dense foods. The thing when it comes to travel is that you kind of also have to be intentional, you have to try, you have to make efforts, but I also think that there's a balance between that and just kind of giving in that, I was in the South in this particular case. And also, the families that we were with, vegetables aren't their star of the dish, right? For me, I like to make veggies the star of the dish, but for them, the meat or the starches are more of the star of the dish. So finding vegetables is a little bit harder to come by. And so with that said, I can, when I do go out, if it's in my control and I can get a side of vegetables, I'm going to do that. But if it's not, I'm also not going to stress and worry and obsess, and I'm not going to bring, a container of vegetables to a family party that I've never met any of these people. I'm not going to go into try to put in my kind of ways into thank you for, they're making food and they're serving everyone. I'm not going to do that. However, with that said, depending on the family you're visiting or depending on where you're going, if you feel comfortable and confident and you want to bring in something like a crudité vegetable platter or a fruit basket for dessert, just so you know that you have a choice. So that way, if you don't want to have the dessert, that there's something there for you, or you don't want to have, or maybe you want to fill up your plate and you want to have maybe something that's more indulgent that they're known for making, that's maybe a fried dish. But you don't want to just have only fried foods or only starches or whatever it is, and you want to be able to balance it, you can bring that with you. So that's a little bit of a side tangent because that's not so much the travel component, but depending on if you're traveling, you probably are seeing, family or friends, you're going to some sort of get together or gathering. And so I think that it's always important to make sure that you're also well fed. The other thing that happened a lot this weekend was, like I said, a lot of things were delayed. So things didn't start when they were supposed to start. So I could have waited to go to the events to eat and to save my calories, but that would have just blew up in my face. So just be intentional, check in with your hunger, eat before you go to these places, and know that, you can always maneuver and change around it. So, back to travel hacks. I think I just went a little bit of a side tangent. When you go, also, if you're driving, we stop by a lot of they're it's so in New York we have 7-Eleven. So depending on where you're from, there's something like 7-Eleven, which is or a gas station, which, you can get gas, right? And then you can also get food. So they often have things like hard-boiled eggs. I got these little, they were pickles, a basket, a thing of pickles. And the reason why I choose actually higher sodium foods when I travel, although it's going to make you feel a little bit bloated, a little bit heavier, it actually will help to retain that water so you don't have to pee so much. So if you have high blood pressure, don't recommend this. But if you don't have high blood pressure and you really just tend to have to pee all the time, you might want to consider maybe having things that are higher in sodium, like something like pickles, which is also nutrient dense. It's just a cucumber with sodium. So that can kind of help. So other things I would have turkey cold cuts. They're a nice lean protein, high in sodium. So I'd make a sandwich with that. What else would I get? You can get cheese sticks. I would do they have at those little marts, they have hard-boiled eggs. You could just add salt and pepper to that. So there's lots of ways that you could actually find these things at these little mini marts. And if you find it, grab it. Like I said, as long as you have a cooler with ice, you could always save it for later if you don't have it then. But I think it's always better to be over-prepared than under-prepared. And also, too, I think another good travel hack is, it might seem more affordable or cheaper to buy things in bulk. The tip with that, or the trick with that, is it's okay to, obviously, if you are in the mood for some sort of a chip or something like that and you want to have chips, to have it. But if you're kind of just leaving it there and you're driving, or you're just kind of sitting and talking and eating, chances are you could finish the whole bag of chips before you even realized it. So you might want to consider buying ones that are pre-portioned. So, it might cost a little bit more money to get the smaller bags. Doesn't really make sense. Or if you're going to buy them in bigger bulk, then put them in baggies so that it's already kind of pre-portioned. So things especially something like a trail mix, that's a great choice while travel. It is calorically dense, and if you're someone who's monitoring your weight, you might want to consider taking that trail mix and putting it in little Ziploc containers so you at least know how much you're actually consuming. So those are some tips that I have with travel. I think the other thing and the expectation to know is that when you travel, your weight will fluctuate. You're out of your routine, you're out of your schedule, and it's okay. Okay, once you get back to your normal routine, you'll be fine. But with that said, still keep a balanced mindset. Always be intentional. Always look for ways in which you can make small little changes. It doesn't have to be drastic, but even like a little bit of movement, you're outside of your normal routine. It might be harder for you to figure out or find time to work out. That's okay. Just find ways to maybe take the stairs instead of the elevator, park further in the parking lot. Maybe go for a walk, ask people to go for a walk with you, do things. If you can find a gym near you and, maybe you belong to or you want to do a drop-in class or that could be fun. Sometimes when you travel to take a new workout class or to take a class that maybe even you do at home, but it's in a different studio or something like that, that could be fun. So all that to say, when you're committing to a healthier lifestyle, it is a lifestyle. It's not a temporary change. So that just means that no matter where you are, no matter who you're with, you are just trying to be the best version of you. And you're enjoying yourself and you're having fun, but you're also taking care of yourself in the best way that you know how. So that is what truly committing to a healthy lifestyle is like, which is why learning healthy travel hacks is super important. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in today. That is it for me today. I do want to just kind of add that if you had applied to work with one of our dietitians, if you go to www.tipswithtony.com/coaching and you applied and we did not reach out to you within 24 to 48 hours of when you had applied, please reach out to me. Message me on Instagram at tips_with_Tony, Tony with an I, or email me tipswithtony@gmail.com. We've been having some technical issues with the website. Regardless, we're changing the website because it used to be coaching with me and now it is coaching with one of my dietitians. So we are revamping everything. We're going to be explaining it. I might even change the name of the program just to make it more fun and engaging. All that to say, we're still taking on clients, although my dietitians are basically almost full. We're exploring if they have the space, time, and energy to take on a couple more. So right now I know that Casey has room for one or two more, and Mary Rose has room for about 2 to 3 more. With that said, we're not sure if we're going to cap it at that or if we might expand, but either way, right now they're almost filled up. So I would recommend going to tipswithtony.com/coaching, watch the video, fill out the application. Like I said, if you don't hear from us, please message me. I am so sorry that this keeps happening. I don't know what's going on with the website, but we're changing it anyway. So the whole site will be new soon. But with that said, we're still taking on clients. So, message me to let me know that you applied if we did not reach out to you. Okay. So I think that's it. I am back. I will be back next week, or you'll listen to a new episode this Thursday. So the solo episodes come out on Tuesday. New episodes come out on Thursdays. The Thursday episodes are interviews with other experts. So stay tuned for that. If you're not already subscribed to the Tips with Tony podcast, definitely hit that subscribe button because it will notify you when a new episode comes out. All right. That is it for me today. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.